Good evening. Just a moment, I'll be inviting you to the City Council meeting, but before that, we'd like to officially swear in Matt Mayer, our newest City Council member. So, Matt, and our City Clerk, Sue.
Okay, raise your right hand and repeat after me, please. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state, and that I will faithfully perform the duties of the office of City Council Member in and for the City of Lowell, County of Kent, and the State of Michigan, according to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations.
Thank you. Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to the City Council meeting of August 18, 2014. And tonight we have a special honor of having a Girl Scout troop led by Lou Jean Stickney. And we would ask the Girl Scouts to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you'd stand with them, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies, very much. We'll proceed with roll call.
Councilmember Mayer,
Here.
Councilmember Hall,
Here.
Councilmember Alcock,
Here.
Councilmember Ellison,
Here.
and Mayor Hodges.
Here. Thank you. Approval of the agenda that's provided to us. Any additions or corrections to the agenda tonight?
I move we approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Yes.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes of our previous meeting on August 4th. Those are in our packet. Any additions or corrections to the minutes of the meeting of August 4th?
I move that we approve the minutes of the meeting of August 4th as presented.
I'll support. Second.
Is that allowed? Yes. Yes. Second. Okay. All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Thank you. Moving on to the accounts payable. Those are provided to us in the packet also. Any concerns or questions about the bills?
I see we paid for the kayak launch.
Yes.
Yay.
We're in the process of closing that project out now.
It's almost.
That was it.
That was the final payment on everything. Looks great. I actually got to use it. Works great. I've heard lots of good comments about it, so it's wonderful. I move that we go ahead and approve the accounts payable as presented.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the accounts payable. And for this item, we need a roll call.
Councilmember Mayer,
Here.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Alcock,
Yes.
Councilmember Ellison,
Yes.
and Mayor Hodges.
Yes. Thank you. Moving on then to item number 5, citizen comments that do not appear on the agenda. So if any citizen would like to address the council, this would be the time to do so. We just ask that you state your name and keep your comments to about 5 minutes. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council members. My name is Scott Patches Fitzpatrick. I am the manager of the Fallsburg Flats. We are a vintage baseball team based out of Fallsburg Park in Virginia's Township. Vintage baseball is played by 1860s rules, wood bats, 90-foot bases out in the field, no gloves. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, we're based out of Fallsburg Park. That's where our home field is. And every year during the Fall Fest at Fallsburg, we do host the John Wesley Falls baseball tournament. What I would like is I'm requesting your presence, Mr. Mayor, to act as an honorary umpire for us during one of the matches, if you would so choose.
And I will. Yes, I will.
All right.
Or I do.
It's going to be a lot of fun, so anybody else here in the audience, if you would like to come out, it is September 20. We'll start around 10 a.m. It'll be running all day long with a break from lunch from about 1 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. As said before, it is during the Fall Fest, so please come on out and enjoy the arts and crafts at the park, and then please make your way down by the in the historical village across the street from the schoolhouse. Other than that, I have nothing else. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Looking forward to helping you out and serving, and thanks for your presentation tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Any other citizens here to address the council this evening? Seeing none, then we'll move on to old business, item number 6. And Mr. Howell, you have some updates.
Just a couple of updates. Pilot leak disposal project, we have some more information on that. We have the paperwork for the DEQ permit. I'm thinking that maybe not at your next workshop, but of course at the next workshop after that, the leaves will just about be on the ground. There is quite a permit process that we have to walk through in order to have a disposal site for leaves and branches and yard waste and things like that. And then there are some other requirements regarding the location of the site. It has to be 50 feet from the property line, 200 feet from the residence. I'm not going to read all of those, but there are some location requirements as well. So we have that information, and we need to have a little bit more discussion on what direction you want to head in that kind of project. The other thing to report to you is, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail under manager's report, but the second stakeholder meeting is scheduled for August 26th for the downtown development plan. That's it.
Thank you. Moving on.
I got a
Oh, yes, sir.
couple questions because it is old business. And I haven't heard anything. The lime disposal, is that all done?
No. Lime disposal, we're having a discussion with the contractor right now, and we expect to be sitting down with DEQ at some point in time and having a discussion with them as well.
Okay. And then underground conduits, did you look into that anymore?
I've not
Do
received
we
any
have to-
council direction to do anything more on underground conduits.
I would like to bring that up for discussion tonight. I would like to bring that up for discussion.
I would as well.
Do I have to have a second?
No.
Oh, okay. I think that needs to be addressed. Just like I said last month, Mark, I think did his best, but I don't think it was enough. And I think that if there's rules and the rules state that the underground primary is supposed to be 36 inches from final grade, it should be 36 inches from final grade. Unless there's some reason that, but then you have to have a reason for that. And that's got to be stated why it isn't, not just because somebody did a sloppy job. So I think that it should be taken care of and taken care of right. And I think we should maybe not just think about looking into it, but I think that anytime anybody does a job like that, it works in any of our right-of-ways, that they should have to pull a permit, and it should be inspected. Because somebody dropped the ball, and I think a lot of things the ball gets dropped on a lot of things because there's not enough people to cover it. We're short on staff, but Mark didn't even, when I talked to Mark about the sidewalk on Lincoln Lake Street, Mark just thought it was grass growing out of the crack. But it was actually, and it's taken care of now, thank you, Mark. But Mark had to spend time on that he should have had to, if it would have went through a permit process so that everything gets inspected. I think it's time. I think there's too much going in town now to not do that. Other towns do it.
Well, again, I think what your point is that we look at our policies and procedures, and we adhere to what we said that we're going to do.
Right.
And I think that that's a direction that maybe we'll be talking a little bit more about as we review those policies and procedures.
No, I think that this particular part right now with that underground electric needs to be addressed. We need to tell them to take care of it, not wait and look into policies and procedures. They're there. That needs to be addressed. It's our job to protect the public, and them condiments are not very deep enough.
Question, is this a light and power issue, or is it
Address the question
just
here.
general?
I think what the purpose is here, that we have various people that do these inspections, and I think that falls upon, I believe, Light and Power is responsible for doing those inspections. Am I correct?
That is correct. I've got on the screen, I apologize, the back screen's not working, so you'll have to look from this angle, but this is these are the recommendations that were contained in the memo that I forwarded to you, and as well to the general manager, and I believe it went to the Light and Power Board. But I think that the venue for this is working with Light and Power, and the recommendation that I made, and you can see bullet point number 2, is to present more detailed information to your board. This is in the Lord Grant Pierce, and the City Council with a policy perspective in mind regarding the standards for buried lines, appropriate depths, and setbacks, safety features, and other pertinent information. Your board and or the City Council could decide whether or not the current standards are sufficient for this community or if further dialogue is necessary. And I think I kind of pulled 2 issues out of the discussion. One is the issue of buried power lines and the depth, and I think the appropriate venue for that is working with the Light and Power Board, and you know, why do they have 36 inches? Maybe that's not the standard anymore. Maybe it should be 48 or 60 or 12 or whatever, but you know, let's work through that policy issue and try to figure out what is the appropriate standard for this community, and then establish that, and then stick to it, I think is your point.
But my whole thing on that whole issue is it's not even 2 foot.
Yeah, in some
That's,
areas.
see, it's
exactly.
not, it's just not, and it's supposed to be 36, it's in their rules. They wrote the rules, I didn't, they updated them in 2006 or 2004, and they should be followed.
Or perhaps there's a reason they're not following them and they haven't updated the policy, and that's certainly an appropriate discussion. The other piece that I take out of that is the issue of rights of way and the right of way, and what kind of a process do we have? And I hear time and time again over the years that somebody's gone out, they've done some work. Somebody just reported to me that consumers dug up, I don't know if it was one of you, I think, consumers dug up a curb and installed a gas line to a house and left the curb, just threw gravel in. And we followed up with them, and they said, yeah, we're gonna come back out and take care of it. Very similar to the piece of sidewalk that you were talking about, where a line was buried, the sidewalk was taken out, it wasn't replaced. If we had some kind of a process where if anybody is doing work in the right of way, they're pulling a permit for that, then that at least gives us some notice that the work is occurring, and then allows us to put together a work order for somebody to do some follow-up to make sure that everything was repaired the way it should be. So absolutely, I mean, that's a process that we need to work out, and it might even require some changes in ordinances as well. So those are the 2 things that I'm pulling from the discussion.
Yeah. But the issue is them conduits. They need to be, in my eyes, they need to be addressed. Because it's just going to get slipped by. It'll be winter here, and then there'll be excuses if it's too cold. And I think it should be addressed now.
So you're proposing that to be fixed?
I propose that it should be fixed correctly.
Okay.
If I'll do the whole thing with the Methodist Church. They started a project, didn't have a permit, and pulled up their whole driveway, and now they have to do it the right way. Well, they pulled a permit to do that job down there, some or not. Maybe they didn't have to because Light Power was the inspector, but it wasn't done right, and it needs to be corrected. You know, it was brought to our attention, and we should address it. I mean, because it's not right. I mean, a contractor cut it before they even fixed or got energized or the project was even done, just planting a little shrub. So what's gonna happen 2 years from now if somebody else just decides to drive a stake in the ground? You know, with a metal or a postal driver or something. Boom. I don't wanna be responsible for it. That's why they bury it 36 inches, because you don't normally drive a stake 36 inches. So,
You want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to ask a question. So the process, what I'm getting is, you've seen a violation of the rules and you're reporting it. We report that to Mark. Do we report that to Greg and then they'll handle it? So it's been reported. Do we need to go to the Lowell Power Board and specifically, do you pass that on? What's the process as far as, okay, seeing something that he thinks is wrong, he's reporting it, we'd like to have it taken care of, so what would the process currently for that be?
I think the process up to this point is that it was reported to us. We did some checking. We prepared an information report that was distributed to everybody. We made recommendations that this is an issue that needs to be addressed. It hasn't been addressed. The date on this memo is June 4th. You could do it in one of two ways. A council member could just attend the Light and Power Board meeting, or I could simply just send an email to the general manager saying this came up at a council meeting and we're just wondering if Light and Power is going to move forward and revisit this issue and revisit this policy. That's probably maybe the easiest and simplest way. Just say, came up at a council meeting and we'd like to know if Light and Power is going to revisit this policy and this issue.
And so would the person that installed the line be responsible? Would Low Light and Power be responsible? Is the city, who's responsible to fix it? The original person? I mean, if it wasn't inspected properly? I guess it depends on the circumstances.
I think it depends on circumstances,
Okay.
Should go back to the inspector. He's the one that signed off on it. He said it was good, it's subpar, it should go back to the inspector. Whether the policy is 14 inches or 36 inches, the inspector signed off on it, it's his problem. I don't know who pays for it, but he should be ultimately responsible for it. If a young kid decides to drive a ball on the ground and gets electrocuted, he's responsible. He's the guy who signed off on it. It takes less than half an amp to kill you. Less than half of 1 amp. And most people have 100 or 200 amps in their house. It's not a light situation. It's very serious. And especially in the long-term goal is this subway going to be there forever? Is it going to be a house later on? I don't know. I'd say is some guy going to put a ditch in later on and drive his tractor and hit that thing and he's lit up, he's dead. Who's responsible? It's very serious. Safety is paramount. It has to be. It has to be number one, no matter what.
Mr. Hall?
Are we talking a specific location?
Two different locations.
One at BP and one at Subway.
Okay.
I think our staff's aware of that, so I think we'll throw it to Mark and he'll report back to us, I trust.
We made the two recommendations, and I mean, going back to the specific ones, we said provide some notification, perhaps working with the city attorney to the landowner of Subway, Big Coffee, and if the final construction does not meet your specifications, and that Light and Power does not assume any liability if an accident were to occur. I mean, that's what I would suggest at this point in time, because I think the issue is that when the lines were put in, from what I've been told, when the lines were put in, they were under 24, more than 24 inches deep. But then you got another contractor that comes in, they bury them, and they do final grading, and they put pavement down, and do all of that other construction work that occurs. And you don't know where the lines are at that point in time. You don't have the ability to go back and do an inspection at that time. We did go out with a locator, and how accurate the locator is, And we've got to assume that it is, unless we're told otherwise. We're going to talk about our turbidity meter in a little bit, the accuracy of our turbidity meter. But we went out with the locator, and it was 24 inches. So,
Mr. Pearson, there's something you'd like to share with us?
Sure, I'll just add to that Mark is correct. When we do the inspections, they are at the right location, we wouldn't allow them to continue. And it's the site grading that makes a difference after the fact. So we are working with Dick Went, we did take, suggestion number one. He's in the process of developing a release of liability form that we will give to customers after we put them up that says that we're not responsible if their site grading or whatever has changed what the location was when we originally did the inspection.
But the site grading didn't change at BP, or not at BP, at the coffee shop, because that's the same grade it was when it started. It's the county ditch. The pole was there, so. And that's only that far under the ground, and I don't think they took 3 foot of dirt off. And your policy does state 36 inches from final grade, so somebody should have shot a grade mark someplace and set it on top of the conduit. So that's what I'm getting at is your policy states that.
I think it states
and it's
that
not.
we suggest to be 36 and at a minimum 24. I think that's what
No,
it says.
not for primary. Minimum 24 for maybe secondary, but primary, it should be a minimum 48, a minimum of 36, or max, yeah. There's 2 different voltages there.
Well, we'll
One is
continue.
7,200 volts and one is 240. So it should be very more than adequate. It's just for the public safety. I mean, this is all this is about. It's public safety, so it should be addressed.
Okay, thank you. And we'll proceed to follow through on that.
yes.
All right. Okay, thank you. Moving on then to item 7, new business. And we have a resolution proclaiming Friday, September 5th, 2014 as Pink Arrow Pride Day in Lowell. And Mark?
7 years, 7th straight year. Lowell High School, the football team, girls outdoor volleyball, and boys soccer team. They will be initiating a cancer awareness and fundraising event called Pink Arrow Pride Day. This year it's going to be held on Friday, September 5. Festivities, you can find them on the websites, Pink Arrow website, it's all over there. If you don't know when things are going on, we certainly can help you find out when things are going on. There's a lot going on that day. Players are wearing pink jerseys and the games being held that day, and funds are being raised through the sale of pink t-shirts for Guilds Club of Lowell and Lowell Community Wellness for Pink Arrow Family Support. So what's before you is a resolution proclaiming that as Pink Arrow Pride Day in the city of Lowell.
Excellent. I figured you did have this one.
I think we have, if they want to come to the microphone, a representative from Pink Arrow Pride, I don't know if they want to add anything or not.
Harry Beecham. I reside at 924 Riverside Drive. I am one of the Pink Arrow Pride volunteer member on the committee, and I want to thank you and the community for the support. My wife would be here tonight. She's a better speaker than I am by far, but she's actually working with 2 families tonight with financial support that comes from the Pink Arrow Pride. So she couldn't be here, but gives her regrets. And again, as Mark stated, it's these shirts, the sale of these shirts, and we get a lot of community support from businesses and everything, but each shirt is your ticket into the game, and into the event, and it does go to, as Mark said, it supports Gilda's here in Lowell. which meets every Tuesday. Please join, see what they're doing. And that's free cancer and grief support. We provide funding for 2 scholarships, Dr. Gerard Scholarship and the Kathy Tallis Scholarship. We also provide educational grants to the school for help in the school. And then, again, financial support for families that are on a cancer journey here in the community. 100% of Pink Arrow Pride is volunteer. There's no administration fees or anything, so every shirt that you purchase is going to support those in the Lowell community. And again, I just thank you, and go out and buy a shirt. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry.
I'd like to move that we adopt Resolution 1414 proclaiming Friday, September 5th as Pink Arrow Pride Day.
And I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to proclaim Pink Pride Day. Thank you. All in favor?
Yes.
I'm sorry, it's
It's
a
a
resolution.
resolution.
We need a roll call. We need to make this official and do it right.
Councilmember Mayer,
Yes.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Altough,
Yes.
Councilmember Ellison,
Yes.
and Mayor Hodges.
Yes. Thank you. Item B is a resolution proclaiming Friday, September 19 as Prisoner of War MIA Day in Michigan. And, Mark? Yeah.
Michael J. Bowles, Chapter 18 of the Vietnam Veterans of America will observe Prisoner of War Missing in Action Recognition Day on Friday, September 19th, 2014. There's going to be a brief ceremony. The mayor will be attending, assuming that you approve the resolution tonight, and presenting that on behalf of the city of Lowell.
Yes.
Yes.
No, well, thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll move for approval of resolution 1514.
Second.
Been moved and seconded for a resolution proclaiming Prisoner of War MIA Day on September 19th, and a roll call.
Councilmember Mayer,
Yes.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Altough,
Yes.
Councilmember Ellison,
Yes.
and Mayor Hodges.
Yes. Thank you. And item C, a special event, the Heifer International. Yeah, Heifer. Yes, Heifer. Yes. Livestock Love and Live Love Livestock, September 27th. Help me.
Tongue twisters tonight.
Ms. Beersen, I don't know if she's here. She was here last year. We had a presentation and talked about the Heifer International event that occurred at the fairground. I think last year was the first year. They wanted to get this up and running. I'm trying to be careful not to back into any unintended puns. But I know they were happy with the event, happy having it here. The fairgrounds is a great venue for them, and they'd like to do it again this year. Chief Buchel has reviewed their permit application, and we're recommending approval.
I move that we go ahead and approve the special event permit for Heifer International.
And I'll second.
Okay, been moved and seconded to approve the event. And all in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed?
Yes. Or no?
I believe it was a yes. Moving on, item number 8, monthly reports are in our packet from all the various boards and commissions. And any comments, questions, concerns?
One item, if I may,
Yes.
under monthly reports. In the financial reports, there was a question at your last meeting about the amount that is spent on streets on a monthly basis, and that is in the monthly financial reports that we submit to you. If you look at the first page is all general fund, but then pages 2 and 3 are major streets and local street funds. And the line item that says capital outlay, it'll be the first line item under expenditures. That will show you how much has been budgeted, the year-to-date that has been spent, the activity for that given month, and then the available balance minus, the budget minus what's been spent. So capital outlay is totally separated from other street activities, from fixing signs to snow plowing and all those types of things. So the money that we actually spend on street repairs or street rehabilitation is reported on pages 2 and 3.
Okay. Thank you. Moving on to council comments. And, Mr. Mayor, have any comments to share with us tonight?
Not so much. Okay. Glad to be here, I guess. Never wore a pink shirt in my life. Today.
Welcome to Lowell.
Excellent.
Go ahead.
Okay. Mr. Aldhoff.
The airport board did meet last week. We had a little discussion about a new manager, and I'm not ready to make an announcement yet because we haven't made he hasn't made a committee yet. And everything's going pretty good there. We fixed a bunch of doors. But that's all I have for that. I do want to thank Mark for getting as many of the sidewalks that he could get fixed because it does make a difference.
Thanks.
And it is a lot better job than last year's, which we deserve when we pay for something. We should get the best. And the other thing that I'd like to make a comment on is I would like to maybe look into changing one of the rules that we have, because when we address and talk to one another, because right now I'm talking to everyone and I don't think that we should have to address the mayor unless he thinks that something is hostile. It's hard for me to talk with Sharon if she's turning around looking at you, so unless we're hostile, I don't think that we should have to address you if we're having a conversation. Because it's awful hard to do that, especially if you're trying to talk to Mark. And so, but I would like to do that. I know that we've had hostile meetings and you have the right to step in and take over, and you could say that, but other than that, I don't think we should do that, because I think we should be able to talk and discuss stuff and get it out and get it over with, so. And that's all I have tonight.
Consideration. Thank you. We do have an update from the Lowell Area Fire Authority, so Mark, maybe you could...
No, I'm sorry. That when did you make an appointment?
Okay. Maybe we can talk about that at the
Under
workshop.
at the workshop. Okay.
Yeah, we want to realign something.
We'll need to do something before the next meeting a month from now.
All right.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you. Mr. Hall.
Planning Commission, we reviewed mixed-use zoning proposals, so that's in the works. Laura has not met in a couple of months because of summer activities. I just want to clarify, Heifer International, that was a no vote from me. Yeah,
Okay.
not a yes, no, no vote.
Okay.
I've looked at, or I voted in favor of Heifer International before, but I actually went to their website this time. I don't like what I see, and I don't like the idea that this organization, they're spinning off and going into protecting children that have been involved in sex things, which is Grand Rapids, and the Heifer International is based in Arkansas. So anyway, a no vote. And I would encourage anybody else to look at the Heifer International. I thought it was about kids, and I thought it was about 4-H and that sort of thing, and it's not. So that's the reason I voted the way I did. Anyway, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Ellis.
Yes, the Arbor Board did meet. We just discussed our fall planning until we get to apply for some more funding. We had enough just to maybe continue the plantings along the New Bowes Road section. That was about all our funding allowed this time. That was all I had in boards and committees, and I don't have any other comments.
Okay, thank you. Lowell Light and Power did meet last week with the tour at 6 p.m. of the new biodigester as it's under construction. It was most informative and things are moving along well. Boy, I hate making projections. Made them in the past and been off by about 3 years. But anyway, it's been a long process in happening, but sometime after the first of the year, we expect to be making electricity here in Lowell. And the whole presentation was very good. And again, things are proceeding quite well with all of the other efforts at Lowell Light and Power. There have been several different conventions and groups that board members have attended as they learn more about public power and all that goes with that. The Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors met last week also. Things are gearing up for the fall Harvest Festival, and they're already looking at Christmas and Christmas through Lowell and all of those. They're continuing the autopsy of the Riverwalk Festival as they review all of the things that they might do better, but it was a very successful event, and things are going very well with the Chamber of Commerce. They've got some new board members, and they're looking at additional board members, and they're also looking at in February the upcoming dinner and selecting various businesses for awards within our community. So there's been some discussion and possible recognitions there. The local memorial fund has not met in some time, but looking forward to that in the near future. Again, it was my pleasure to be invited to participate in the Fallinsburg baseball program as the honorary umpire for one of their games, and look forward to representing our community in that particular light. So, the Big Hero, boy, I don't think I could do it justice to say much, but it's a very, very wonderful thing. And Perry, thank you for the efforts that you and Teresa make, as well as everybody in this community that makes it happen and makes Lowell a very special place to live. And with that, we'll move on to the manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. The downtown development plan continues to move forward. I reported earlier that our second stakeholder meeting will be on August 26th at 7 o'clock in this room. Just to give you a little bit of background, the consultants have gone through the process of collecting comments from the first stakeholder meeting. They've done some walking around downtown, taking a lot of pictures, pulling together some recommendations, and that's what's going to be presented at the second stakeholder meeting. It's just some ideas about how can we address traffic, how can we address walkability, signage, portage crossing, all those types of things that are within this project area of the downtown. Essentially, the project area is from Kaiser's to the railroad tracks, I think the other cool thing about the second stakeholder meeting that we're trying to work out is to also take a walking tour. And we've put the word out to MDOT, and are having some discussion with them about perhaps even the ability to set up some cones on M21 and see. I know, Dan, this is the first you're hearing of it. Yesterday was, or Friday was the first I heard of it. But setting up some cones on Main Street to maybe make the traffic pattern a little bit different so we can see what that might do. Or maybe using chalk to draw in a crosswalk at a certain point or whatever to see what that might mean. So we want to try to take a hands-on, with permitting, a hands-on approach to looking at downtown and looking at various issues there so we can come up with a plan. And then hopefully move forward and make some improvements over the next few years to downtown. Again, August 26th, 7 p.m. Michigan DEQ issued their 2014 Water System Sanitary Survey. This is something that they do every 3 years. There are 10 recommendations for improvements to the operations. Out of those 10 recommendations, there are 3 that they deem to be deficiencies that must be addressed in order to comply with Act 399. Those 3 deficiencies are completing a water reliability study, adjusting the frequency of chlorine residual measurements in the distribution system, and then requiring residential customers to test backflow prevention. We had staff, Brian at the water plant and Bob in distribution. We got together last week, as well as Dan. We went through each of the 10 recommendations. They range from things that we really need to take care of and we're going to take care of, to things that kind of leave us scratching our head a little bit. Certainly the deficiencies are areas that we are going to take care of. The reliability study should have been done a year ago, and it hasn't been, and so we're going to put the pedal to the metal and have that completed. The frequency of chlorine residual measurements and distribution, we've already taken care of that. And the require residential customers to test backflow preventers is one that we're going to put in place. It's going to require some more communication with you so that you know what we're going to be asking of residential customers, and it's going to require some education on the part of our customers as well, to let them know that the DEQ is requiring us to do this, and so we need to make sure that you're testing your backflow preventers. In a nutshell, a backflow preventer is just keeping water from outside the system from entering back into the system. That's the simplest way to put it. Think of it as a hose that you throw into a swimming pool and use the hose to fill the swimming pool. We want to make sure that there's no way the water from the swimming pool ends up back into the city water system. Did I get that simple enough, Dan? He'll give us the technical example, and Brian's sitting in the audience and probably could give us even a more technical example that would lose me. But some of the issues, for example, there's a recommendation that, and this is just a recommendation, that we replace our turbidity meter. And turbidity measures, I know now through discussion with Brian, measures the clarity of the water. And the concern is that our meter registers at 0 quite often when we're measuring the clarity. And we think the simple answer is that we're producing pretty darn good water here in the city of Lowell, and that's why the meter says 0. And there's some discussion about, well, it's an old meter and maybe it's not accurate. Well, we think it's accurate. We measure water that had other parts of the system where we're, I think, adding lime to the system, and that's cloudy water, and the meter seems to recognize that. So we're going to have a discussion with the DEQ about that, but we're certainly, I think, proud of the fact that we have very, very clear water in the city of Lowell, and I think credit really goes to Dan and Brian and Bob for the work that they do to really lead that process and make sure that we pump and treat and distribute very, very good water. So we're going to address those 3 deficiencies. We're going to talk with them about the other recommendations. We have to send a letter back to them by August 29, and then we'll move forward. But I thought it was important that you at least know that work is going on behind the scenes. We're making preparations for the annual audit, and that'll be coming up in the next couple of weeks. The auditors will be here. And last thing is we've conducted a traffic count study for Monroe, Jefferson, and Fremont streets. During the week of the study, the average daily count for Monroe was 2,250 vehicles, roughly. I rounded on all of these. Jefferson was 650 and Fremont was 250. It was a surprise to me, and it might be a surprise to several of us, that Monroe was so much higher, the count is so much higher than Jefferson. I thought it'd be fairly close, but it was quite a bit higher. The study was done during the weekend of the Riverwalk Festival, but we have the daily counts, and it doesn't look like the Riverwalk Festival had that much of I hate to call it an adverse effect, but I don't think it skewed the data, by more than 300-400 a day in those days. So we're still around 2,000 vehicles, maybe on average, on Monroe Street, which is quite good. The reason we're doing that study, as I've talked to you before, is that we're talking to the Greater Valley Metro Council and working with MDOT to try to get Jefferson and Monroe on the federal aid list. What we'd be doing is changing the national functional classification of those streets. And if we can get them on the federal aid list, then the federal money that we receive every other year for Lowell and G Drive could be used for Monroe and Jefferson as well. So that's the process that we're working toward, and that's why we did the traffic code study. The last thing I wanted to mention up on the screen behind you is that we installed skate stops on the bench at the Riverwalk. Hopefully that will help deter the skateboarders. I think I hope the word has gotten out that a couple of people have received citations and may even have to pay us restitution for damage that has been done. I hope that word is getting out. In the meantime, we'll put skate stops up as well, and please, skateboarders, do not damage city property. We have a skate park. We've invested a lot of money in the skate park. If we need to look at improvements to the skate park, we're certainly willing to talk with skateboarders about that, but please do not damage city property. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Moving on to appointments, Downtown Historic District Commission. I would like to recommend Artie Barber to that board. Is council approval? Is there a motion?
I move that we accept that recommendation.
I will second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Yes.
Okay, that was unanimous. Making sure. We do have 2 openings on the planning commission, and there have been a couple of applicants. I hope to have a recommendation for you of 2 people at our next meeting, so we'll address that then. And with that,
No updates or no closed session
No.
necessary? Okay. I move that we adjourn at 7:47.
Second.
moved and seconded to adjourn, all in favor?
Yes.